doctors. And what we're doing here is looking at what's going on in the world, but from a deeper perspective, specifically through this great transition, this very, very interesting and adventurous time that we find ourselves in. What is the world going through? If you have questions about what we're talking about now, put it in the chat. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, so put it in the chat there. We're going to do our best to monitor that. If you have things you'd like to hear us talk about, also let us know there. And we're very happy to be here with you, very happy to be on this adventure. Guys, let's get into it. Every day,
Sure.
every day we're given a certain amount of energy. Say like, I don't know, you have a cup, however much, and you get each day some amount of powers to spend that day. And it comes to us in the form of anxiety, frustration. Oh, Chris, we see some funny screen there. It comes to us in the form of anxiety, frustration, maybe even optimism. Maybe we have some hope. Each person's given some kind of energy, and then we spend it in the world. So, for example, I get up in the morning, absent-mindedly get into the shower, and start thinking about some problem at work, whatever it is. Somehow I'm not even paying attention, washing my hair, soap, and then I start thinking, oh, and then this, my car, I forgot, I need to get the oil changed, and this, and then I think, oh my God, my kid's got that thing, I didn't sign that thing yet, I got to sign that thing, and all of a sudden I have all this anxiety. I'm not even up 10 minutes. I'm thinking about all kind of things, and the entire day could be consumed from that moment there. I could spend all of my energy thinking this, for example, I wake up in the morning and I think about some email that I got yesterday. How could he have said that to me? Doesn't he realize how much I did for him?
Oh, and it
What did he
catches you
even
all
mean?
day. You go all day with that thought, with those feelings, and it's like you don't escape it. Yeah.
Right. You walk into the office or you walk into the kitchen and someone says hello to you or something, and you just, because you're in
Yeah.
that. So we have this energy. Now, when we use that amount of energy, whatever amount it is, in this world. So imagine like you have a head, right? And you tilt it down. So when you use it in this world, we learn in the Freedom article from Bala Sulam that everything that comes into the world, it comes in through these 4 phases. We're always talking here about these 4 phases. They come up in conversations no matter what we're talking about, whether we're talking about the Squid Games or the Big Bang or whatever. We're really looking behind the curtain to see what this system, the spiritual system that's clothed into this world is. So if we look down at this world, everything that's coming out of this world is coming through a cause and consequence process. So even, I get in I'm going to just be looking down, right? Okay. That meaning looking at this world, not looking up, meaning like looking into the spiritual world. We're not actually talking about where my head is looking, but if I'm
Right. So
looking down,
it's like figuratively speaking. Yeah. Okay.
right. So I'm going to use it just for the sake of our conversation, either looking down, I'm spending my energy in this world, and I'm looking up, I'm spending my energy in the spiritual world. So if I'm looking down, there are laws of cause and consequence in this world.
All
And I
right.
have to abide by them. Right? Like someone wrote an email to me, right? And then I go through this, and we even know, we even already anticipate the emotional trajectory of all of those things. Like I'm going to get frustrated, and maybe if I know this person, that I like respond with a certain kind of email, then he's going to respond back with a certain thing, and then the texts are going to go back and forth. You ever text with someone, you kind of get into a text argument, and you're like, oh, here it goes. Like you already know the progression of you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. It's like it's a chronology of deterioration that is predetermined. You know that it's going in a downward spiral kind of.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing with your wife. If I say what I'm about to say right now, I'm gonna be whatever on the couch.
Right.
Right.
It's like a 3-hour that decision. They're like 3 hours of consequences if I open my mouth right now. Yeah, you can even almost measure
Yeah. No,
those consequences.
my wife and I have I spoke about it actually with a bunch of people in regards to like relationship advice kind of thing. I call it the black hole. if you and your spouse are, you kind of live with each other for a long time, and you start noticing where's the black hole. So it never goes away. There's always like a black hole, which means the moment you step into its circumference, is the right word.
Event
And the
horizon.
moment you step, yeah,
Event horizon.
exactly, event horizon in the case of a black hole. Yeah. So the moment you're there, you're done. That's it. You're sucked in. It's going to vortex you into it, and you're done. But if you develop a certain sensitivity over the years, it's not that it goes away. It's just that you and your spouse learn how to kind of walk around it all the time. So anyway, that was a complete tangent.
That was a
You didn't
tangent.
want to
That was a
go
tangent,
there,
but
right?
very
perfect, though,
identifiable.
very identifiable, right? That's the point. The point is that there is this very clear and very tangible energy, and we're spending it in this world. And when we spend it in this world, and there are certain things in this world we have to do, right? I have to eat. I
Yeah.
have to provide for my kids. There's certain things we have to do in this world.
So when you say spending my energy in this world, you're actually referring to not, I mean, the things that you do, but
I want to
mostly
be
the attention that I'm
let,
giving to
let me
this
stay
world?
really vague about it until we get into the
Okay.
conversation. However you
Got
want to
it.
understand it. You want to
All
understand
right.
it as like money, energy, emotion, whatever. It doesn't
Because
matter.
I'm tired at the end of the day. So I had energy at the beginning of the day, and I'm tired at the end. So it went somewhere. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right.
So, and okay. So in this world, when we spend it in this world, okay, and say you get 100 years to spend it to live your life. So everything that
Right.
happens in this world is very, there's cause and consequence, So, I'm in the shower, I got that feeling, and then this, and then this, and then I email, and then this, and then I go to work, and then he said
Yeah.
something, and da 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 da. The same thing used like farming is the best example for this world. You put the seed in the ground. There has to be the right um, in the right situation for the
Yep.
seed to grow, but
Right
then
conditions.
the
Yeah.
right condition. Right now, the seed grows. Then you have to harvest this. Let's take wheat. Bala Salam uses wheat in the Freedom article. Then it grows, and then you have to harvest it. Now, here's something else that's also interesting.
Just to make sure, Seth said wheat.
Wheat, not
Yes.
weed. Bala Salam didn't write about weed in the Freedom
Yes.
article. Different Freedom article, not by the Kabbalists. So with the other animals, they can eat food out of the ground. Even us, we eat fruits and things like that. But there's something unique about bread and wine and things like that. These kind of historically human foods, they require processing. Because we also, and it comes to like medicine too, sometimes you hear people saying like we need to get back and we need to eat just raw foods and we need to just, let food be thy medicine and medicine, Hippocrates, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food and just let me eat garlic and whatever's in the natural environment. All those things are very good, but we're totally toxic, meaning not totally toxic, but we live in an environment that's full of poisons and toxins and all that kind of thing. We are a very processed kind of people. We eat bread. Even if you don't eat bread, the concept, everything we eat is not just like straight out of the ground. There's a whole cause and consequence thing of breaking it down and putting it together and cooking and all these things, because we are not just an animal. We're more than an animal, where an animal will just like eat this, eat the stalk of whatever. For us, you take the stalk, you cut it, you bring it inside, you do something with it, you remove part of it. All of that is this kind of cause and consequence process.
Undoubtedly, it's a human characteristics. How we eat, how we make our food is unique to human beings. Yeah, sure. Anyway,
There's also on YouTube though, like, there's this huge movement of like wilderness cooking. Have you seen those wilderness cooking things? Like they go out. There's a guy in Azerbaijan or something like that. It's a really this guy has like 7 million views on some of his videos. He just goes out. There's nature. It's flowing. He takes like some rack of lamb. He goes and picks some herbs from the side, and there's like a little spring that's where he gathers his water, and it's like only nature sounds. There's no commentary. He's just cooking the of the fire. The of the
Sounds
water.
great.
Yeah, and you're just sitting there for like 15 minutes. Like, this is a 15-minute video. I have energy, I have time in my day, and I need to spend it correctly. But I'm actually going to sit and watch some guy for 20 minutes do something that I actually want to do. That's why he has 7 million views, because I also want to do the same thing. Anyways, that's also
Right.
a tangent, but there's something there. It's like it's all natural. He's picking it from the ground. You're like, oh wow, he gets to go out into his backyard and pick from the ground and cook. Anyways, go ahead.
In this, so that whole process, right? You take it, you cook it, you make the fire, you do all those things. Everything that's happening in this world has this timeline, a required timeline, and it's usually everything takes time, right? Like, how long does it take to make a good relationship? How long does it take to get good at playing the guitar? How long does it take to build a business? How long, your best friendships, like how long, how many years, how many experiences build that? So now, if you take and here's the problem, and this is why we spent already 10 minutes on this topic. Look at humans, look at our history. What do we have to show for it? Are we closer to world peace? Are we closer to all of humanity having what to eat? Are we closer to families having good relationships? Are we closer to people feeling calm? People feeling, do people feel alone and insecure? Or do people feel that they belong?
I'll tell you what. I'm getting closer and closer to depression when you bring up these questions one after the other.
Okay.
But
Now let's look up. Let's talk about spirituality. Let's talk about the wisdom of Kabbalah. A person's given the same exact amount of energy. The person's given the exact same life. The holiday season is upon us, okay? Some smart marketing person takes something and they say we were selling it for 100, but we just took 50% off and you can get it for 50. And then I buy it and I think I got over on everyone because I'm so smart. I got it on sale and I feel a little better about myself. And 3 years later, the crap is still sitting on my shelf. And maybe 5 years later, I get around to throwing it out and it goes into a dump and I do the same thing over again.
yeah.
So all of these cause and effect processes that are happening in this world down here, they take time, and at the end, they don't give us what we want. I'm not talking about raising our kids. I'm not talking about paying the bills. There's things that we have to do. I'm saying we're all given enough energy that we need to raise all of humanity up to a totally different kind of perception, a totally different kind of existence together, to go through this great transition. Okay, and you'll have to speak somewhat about what that means, because we didn't define what is that thing that we were talking about.
Well, first of all, the what inspires me about this whole kind of perspective you're creating a picture of is that there is potential, meaning every person, every individual gets this daily quota, let's say, right? And the only question or problem is, are we using it correctly? Or how are we actually spending that energy dollars, those energy dollars that we have, essentially? Now,
Right.
I think, how does that have to do with the Great Transition? I think that's what the Great Transition is all about. The whole problem in terms of why we can't make a society that works better than it is, in terms of how we can, make our lives better, is in how we use our energy. And the problem is that for most people, there is no looking up, man. There is no, it's like, okay, I got this energy and I got all the stuff that's happening in this world, stuff that's attacking me and I need to respond to, and that takes energy, or stuff that I want, and that takes energy. And, Kabbalistically, a person who begins to develop a vision of the spiritual existence, a person who begins to develop that unique desire for a spiritual existence, now you have a choice. It's only that's the problem, only from that point where people are educated about this about spirituality, that they can actually make the choice on how to
No,
spend
I think there's
their
another
energy.
problem. I think there's another
Okay.
problem.
Yeah.
So tell me what the problem you said was, and then I want to talk about the next
Well,
problem.
listen, there's a
also.
lot of people. There's a lot of people who they say, "Is this my life? This is what I do all day. I wake up, I'm serving some corporation, or I've just got to feed my kids." Then there's the empty nest syndrome, right, where your kids leave and you're like, "Wait a second, I don't. What am I doing?" There's a lot of different phenomena of like, what am I using my life on? Is that the question you're even asking?
Yes, I think that's exactly at least that relates exactly to what I meant. It's like, but in order for you to direct your energy in a different direction, you need to understand what the direction is, and
There has
that's
to
the
be some
problem.
goal, other goal.
There has to be another goal. There has to be some goal. If everything that we're seeing around us is that, the goal of life is to, not just provide for my necessities here, but to, if we're linking our fulfillment in life with status symbols, material symbols, things like that, then you're always going to spend your energy in on this level, which might be fine, but history and statistics and so shows us that we're not getting like super happy.
So what was the first problem that you
Depression
said?
is the number is the first problem is, I think, informing people that there is another way to use your energy. You need to be informed about a higher goal of life in order to spend some efforts there, to think about it, to want it, to grow your desire for it, to spend
Let
your
me
energy.
let me tell you about the second problem, because
Okay.
because when you tell me about it, and it starts to make sense, especially since you have a method, and you have books, and you have people doing it, and it seems to be working for them. So I'm really inspired. All of a sudden, I start reading these books, and they start describing the books of the wisdom of Kabbalah, and all of a sudden they start describing all of these inner states, and they start describing the nature of reality around me. And all of a sudden, oh my God, yeah, everything starts making sense. And oh, wow, wow, wow. Great. Okay. But you come to a second problem. So the first thing is to tell them. But the second problem is this: when we look up and start to spend our energy up, right? So we do get instantaneous, it still goes through that process of cause and consequence, but in a different realm. The problem is that and the results are instantaneous because they're not, they don't have to go through, they don't have to be planted in the dirt. They don't have to be watered in the dirt, right? In spirituality, there is no time and space. It's a totally different set of rules. Here's the problem. We're getting instantaneous results, right? Like I have I spend my energy. I think a loving thought about
Oh,
somebody.
I see what you're saying. Now I see what you're saying. Now you're saying that's a really, really important point. You're saying there's instant reward mechanism when you spend energy on the level of this world, which is
No. I'm
not
saying
not happening when you spend energy towards your spiritual.
no. I'm saying something else. I'm saying that there's
Okay.
instant reward when you spend it in spirituality. The problem is we can't perceive it.
Oh, same thing. Okay, same thing. That's it's basically the same thing. Yes.
So that's the problem. So
That's
we're
true.
getting results, but I don't yet have the senses to
You don't have
feel.
the senses to feel is one way of putting it. I'd say another way is you don't have the deciphering mechanism, like, because when you work on your desire for spirituality, and there's a whole technology for how to do this in the wisdom of Kabbalah. We're not going to get into this here, obviously, for our listeners. Check out KabU if you're interested in really getting to the hardcore of this. But there is, like you said, there is instant results, but the results are not in your what we call vessels of reception, meaning your immediate visceral desires that you're used to fulfilling in this world. Because what do we have in this world that we feel essentially through our desires? We want food, sex, family, money, honor, power, knowledge. That's pretty much it. And anything that you can do that gives you instant result in these desires, you see that there's an impact to how you spend your energy. So someone pisses you off at work, you push him away, that takes energy from you, and you see some instant reward in your desire for honor. That email you talked about, same thing. We see the results in our immediate desires. Spiritual desires are desires that are embryonic within us. We have to develop them first in order to fulfill them later. That's the problem. And all the effort that you put into developing them at first, you have to learn to sense them. You have to learn to understand, what does it mean to develop my spiritual desire? How do I begin to sense it? And for that,
okay, hold on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You're talking about how do I even do it? Hold on. Just put that over here for a minute.
Okay.
I'm just saying, how to do it, for example.
All right.
So you have this investing in this world and investing in the spiritual world.
Yes.
You know what to do. Maybe let's just make it really clear, and let's just say on whatever level ever anyone's at, it means to spend my energy here. It means I'm thinking about the well-being or the benefit of someone else. Just love. I'm giving love as much as I'm capable of. I'm loving another. I'm loving either the whole world or I'm loving a certain person. And
I'll add another perspective on it, or you can say I'm investing in my desire to bestow to all of nature, to all of humanity, to all of reality. I'm investing in that desire. It's my desire, but I need to grow it. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just a different way of looking at it.
Oh wait,
okay,
this is just getting really. Wait a second.
Okay.
I've got a lot of things happening right here in my brain. I'm a person who wakes up and I have some energy in the morning, or maybe I don't have energy in the morning. A lot of people don't have energy in the morning. How many new I don't know if you subscribe to a bunch of like
you
Pinterest.
get it at noon. Every person has
something like that, right? Like how to increase your energy, and all this stuff. Like, well, I've done all these things and I still feel like crap, right? So there's a lot of people looking for energy. They're looking for a source of energy to continue through the day. But let's just say you wake up with energy, right? Let's just say you wake up with energy, and I can understand the principle of I don't have energy, or I do have energy, but what do I spend it on? Okay, so that you've captivated me there.
But don't translate energy as calories, or don't translate energy as excitement. If I'm depressed and I spend 12 hours a day thinking about how terrible everything is, that's also
that's use of energy. Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Not just that I get up in the morning, I'm excited and I have, I can lift 100 bricks today.
Even do I have energy to even make the bottle of milk for my baby? Either I can do that, easily, or I can do it exerting a lot more effort because I don't know, because I have a lot of problems that I still have to deal with, and on top of that, I also have to make a bottle of milk. But
so I want to talk even more. Yeah, I'm talking even more. Like I keep wanting to go even more general, right? If you're depressed and you can't even get off the couch, you're still spending your energy that day in being depressed. Meaning, whatever kind of life force you get that day, it can be very dim. Okay. It can be a little bit. It doesn't mean like, like you can go conquer the world, here, go spend it, or, I don't have any energy to conquer the world today. I don't mean excitement. I just mean whatever you are given that day.
So what am I supposed to do with it then? What am I supposed to do with the energy then? With the energy that I'm given, what am I supposed to do? Let's say that I still have a job. I still have kids, right?
Okay, so I want to leave all of those kind of things alone for a minute. What I want to say is that imagine what I'm trying to differentiate. I'm glad you're asking this, because what I'm trying to differentiate between this and between this. Okay, so imagine I got energy that's pouring out of it's pouring out of my eyes. If I look down, it's going into the earth and it's planting seeds in the earth.
It even feels like that too.
It's planting seeds all day long up here, and everything, it's going to grow one way or another. If I put them in here, And it may turn into that I'm just wasting my time and I just end up moving through my life in some kind of crappy way and whatever. And I just watch another show and go to whatever. I go on a vacation when I can and I go to the grocery store and whatever. And then I look up here and I'm investing up here. One way or another, we're investing that energy down into the earth or up into something spiritual. So let's not get into exactly what it means, how it means, or whatever. So imagine you had a stopwatch in your hand. What I'm trying to separate and what I want to pull out of you guys, and I'm hoping you can help me. If you had a stopwatch, for every minute you're investing up there, that stopwatch is running. And for every minute you're down here, that stopwatch is running. Now, Chris, you asked, what about my kids? What about my bills? What about that? That is like, well, here's another thing about the spiritual. You can do all of that while you're looking up here. That's really
Sounds pretty advanced.
But that's what it's about.
What am I supposed to do?
Hold on, Seth. I'm going to pass it to you guys. Let's not talk about the mechanics of it. Let's just talk about the brochure. You know, like when we get to the hotel, we'll go in the swimming pool, we'll eat at the bar, we'll do everything. Let's just look at the brochure of the hotel.
That's also fulfillment. And you know, I love the brochures. Okay. You've excited me. What's in this brochure? Why am I looking at the brochure, first of all? Because why? Am I tired?
I would just
What?
I would just say it's at the end of the day, it comes down to, again, I'm just dumbing down our conversation here to make, so we can kind of simplify things. Attention, and if you want to get more Kabbalistically about it, then intention. But that's the bottom line. This energy, spending your energy, is not necessarily what you do with your hands and legs. It might be, meaning, okay, here's imagine this situation. You have to do some work with your hands and legs. I don't know, pave a road, whatever, drive an Uber, make a meal, right? Something. You have to do something. So you could be doing that with your animalistic body, but your human intentionality could either be there, completely immersed in the action that you're doing, or you could be doing that on autopilot and adding some sort of an addition of attention, addition of intention for where you want these efforts to go.
And I get fulfillment from that? Does that make me...
You get spiritual development from that. And if you get used to it, Kabbalists call this habit becomes a second nature. If you get used to it, you start getting a new kind of fulfillment. Not the same kind that we're used to, where we're just coming with a ready desire and we're just, give me pleasure, I'll fill myself up now. It's a different kind of fulfillment that comes from gradually developing similarity to that bestowing force of nature. I'm gonna stop here.
So that kind of gives me hope. Let's say that I did have some kind of, I did feel whatever it is that you guys were talking about. Seth brought up this fact that I think that everyone basically can relate to some way or another on some kind of level. It does give me a little bit of hope to feel that I can invest my energy in this thing that I feel like is I'm just going to die with it anyways. Or I can invest my energy in something that I feel like is a little bit more, I don't want to say the word eternal, because no one even really knows what that means, and we can't even really feel what that means, and there's no immediate benefit from that. But at least I feel like I'm doing something worthwhile, other than just putting all of my seeds in the ground and I have no idea what happens to them afterwards.
And also, if you look at, if you study some of the, the sociology and psychology and mental illness and what's happening with today's society, you'll see that a sense of purpose, a sense of inner fulfillment, a sense of meaningfulness in everything we do is missing for people. That's what creates, a lot of the problems and the social ailments and psychological problems and mental illness and just lack of fulfillment that we see in general in society. That's the problem, because we're not even using that energy that could be potentially used
So
in a
this is
spiritual way. We're not
this is
informed, we're not educated. Yeah.
this is beautiful. This is really beautiful, and we can really see the hand of the creator, the hand of nature through what's going on now. Since COVID-19 began, we can really see how nature is coming closer to us down here. Why? People feel this lack of meaning, so they just are stopping. There's something going on now called the Great Resignation. You have the young people who have the most energy, who have the most to contribute, who have all of the ideas, who have all of this vigor. They don't want to go out and spend it in the world. Why? Because they don't feel any meaning. So they all
Yes.
kind of settle down on the couch or settle down at home. They're not going out to the office. So all of this energy that would normally go like this, it would go out into the marketplace to buy crap that's going to end up in a dump somewhere anyway. They would go out, they would travel around the world, or they would go to work, or they would drive on the highways out, all of the energy just being expended out, right? And where's it going? What are we going to have from it? What are we going to have? More microchips, more cell phones, more
Microchips, that's good.
more amusement parks,
Yeah.
more crap, more junk, more t-shirts, more cars, more junk. Okay? But now it's stopping. All that energy isn't going anywhere. However, it's building up. It's still there. That energy is building and building. And what nature is doing is like pushing all of humanity. So you have this big, there's something interesting that happens in humanity, and Bala Salam also talks about this. He talks this one also in Peace in the World. He says that humanity waits until the suffering builds and builds, and we see it not just in humanity, but in nature, until the suffering builds and builds and builds until you can't take it anymore, and then boom, the next leap, and then it builds and builds and builds, and then the next leap. And so all of this potential energy is building up, and it can either come into a huge outburst of war or something horrible, people pouring out into the street with all of that. You remember, you can imagine those Hitler videos from World War II where the population is rah, like so much energy there because
they were really into it.
They
Heart
lost the World War I. They lost. They had to pay all these reparations. The economy was terrible. There was high inflation. People were having trouble, social troubles, and someone came and gave them an outlet for all of that energy that was building up. Right? You can imagine something like that could very easily happen today. It could come from the right, the left. It doesn't matter. It's possible that could come. Or, Saf, you mentioned people need to understand the first thing you mentioned before. The first problem is just explaining that this other thing exists. If we can talk about that.
Yeah, that's the whole thing here. The humanity needs a goal beyond material life. There's just no other way to say it. I recognize, for some people, with a very kind of down to earth mindset, it might sound a little, wooey at first, but that's in truth, that's what we're looking for anyway. When you want to be successful in life, when you look for, when you're in the pursuit of material goals and you're chasing these material status symbols and you're in this cyclical kind of chase, what is it that you're chasing? You're chasing something that you hope will give you a better kind of state of existence. You're looking for something that society promises you will give you fulfillment. We're always human beings. We're always chasing meaning. That's what I'm trying to say. The problem is we're just looking for it in matter and discovering each time that it's not there.
Well, you said
that's the whole problem.
You were the one that sent us. Go ahead.
We're uneducated about what we really want. That's how I would say it. That's how I see it.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
You sent us a
Cut you off.
video. You sent us a little clip of Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro, which everyone on the internet loves, by the way. They love when these two tag team and get together and bang their heads together. Ben Shapiro had an interesting anecdote when he said that he was calling it out like, in a few months people are going to be going crazy and they're not going to be able to even
Is that
stand
the
being.
metaverse thing? The
No, but
metaverse
this is
video?
before the metaverse. He was saying people are locked in COVID, and then in a couple of months they're not going to be able to stand it anymore. They're not going to be able to stand it. They're going to be banging down the doors and wanting to go outside. But actually, what he sees is people are like, okay, maybe we can maybe we can hang out in our house and not really.
Yeah.
So,
I think that COVID clearly is, from a Kabbalist's perspective, and our teacher, Dr. Michael Lightman, spoke about this a lot when COVID just started. Now it's becoming obvious, but it wasn't obvious at all when he said it. He said, okay, good. This is a force that's happening right now in the world that is shaking us a little bit to enable us to zoom out of this crazy rat race lifestyle so we can reassess where we want to put our energy, our attention, our intention in. And what you're discovering today is that millions of people, those who don't want to go back to work, what is it, like 4 million
millions.
Americans?
4 million.
I think 4 million just in America, right? Just recently, and there's everywhere in the Western world, people. I know in Israel, there's a lot of people. It's a known phenomenon. That's why they call it the Great Resignation, right? A lot of people feel, thanks to COVID in part, that the lifestyle that we were on, this crazy treadmill, was just not really what was giving us fulfillment. It's not worth it. And when you start thinking, wait, maybe it's not worth it, what is it? It's exactly that energy budget we're talking about. It's people beginning to reassess, beginning to reconsider, maybe there's a different way, a better way to use my energy.
Oh,
Maybe
that's a
to use
great
my
connection you
attention.
just made.
N-
Nice.
I want to make another addition here. I don't think, because some people might be listening to us and go, okay, so what do we, so what is it now? You're pushing minimalism on me. You're pushing materialism is bad. Is that what you're saying? And I think that's the whole problem, is balance. Balance. That is a key word here. That's what we're missing here. It's not a problem that you'll go and enjoy, you'll have a comfortable life, you'll have enough money to do what you need to send your kids to where you want to be, to go to vacation, do all that stuff. But where is your attention? Where is your, where are you passionately directing your intention? What are you hoping to get fulfillment from? And what you find is, and again, this is basic psychology and behavioral economics showing this very clearly. What you find is that beyond a certain threshold, when people get their necessities settled, when they have what they need to wear, to eat, medicine, school, education for the kids, house, roof above their head, when they have the stuff they need, really more of it, just more of the same, doesn't make us happy. It doesn't. It doesn't make us happy. It doesn't make us fulfilled. It doesn't give us a sense of purpose. And that's why I'm saying we're uninformed about what does make us happy. What is the thing that we could be putting our energy in? And that is developing the spiritual component of the human. Well, that is something that's been evading us for thousands of years. People of the past even were more aware of it than us. But anyway.
But they didn't have all these distractions. But you're absolutely right. Look at this. Look at this. I wanted to show you this. One second. Let's see if I can do a nice, sexy transition here. Oh, that was good. All right, one second. Pin. All right, so this is what people are looking at. This is exactly what you discovered. Talked about.
This is random.
This is
tweet?
Cinema Row. I don't know. This is some Twitter. This is what I found this on Reddit. Listen, she says, in college, I've discovered that I actually have a passion for nothing. Okay, that's not 20th century. Go to your dad. Is telling you to go to college. you'll get a good job, and with your job you know prepare for retirement, and retirement you can enjoy, right? That's this It's like that whole cycle is breaking, exactly what you talked about. Like, okay, whatever, my dream job is no job and a mansion by the sea with lots of windows. Okay, so I want the thing at the end of the road, but I don't want to have to work for it so much. Okay, so that's interesting.
Right.
That's an interesting thing that's
Right.
happening. Yeah, you have like
Raina,
these. What?
Raina wrote a comment here. She says Mark Cuban I guess a very rich guy, has a different theory to the Great Resignation. It seems a lot of them invested in cryptocurrency, and hence they've hit the jackpot. So if you have an opportunity, so that's it's a
And
nice
that's
point.
4 million Americans and a few other millions. In
Even
the
suppose
world.
it is.
I don't
Suppose
think
every
so.
suppose every single person who's not going back to work, they're not going back
Okay.
because they got rich quick from Bitcoin. Okay, so
Okay,
here's
I'm
what
playing
you
along.
got. Play along for a second, okay? Apparently, mining Bitcoin is using more energy than a couple, like a handful of European countries, like all of the energy to run certain countries, or some crazy amount. It's like apparently devastating to the environment to be mining Bitcoin. And okay, so I would also agree. Like, okay, Seth, you wake up in the morning. Seth, you can either go to work today and make $100, or sit at home and do nothing, and your Bitcoin will go up by $300. So
Sure.
I'm going to take the Bitcoin, and then I'll play guitar all day, or go for a walk or something. So
Oh, sure.
that's a no-brainer. So, but the problem with that is we're still looking down. As long as, no, of course, we would prefer to have more than less money, house, whatever it is. It's like, it's more comfortable if I can pay my bills than I can't. I'm not saying that. That's not what we're debating. The point is, it's not a solution. It's not a solution. It's like, imagine the 1940s or 50s. It's like, well, if we have a word processor, a typewriter, and a toaster oven, then we'll have more free time. If we have a washing machine to wash our clothes, we'll have more free time.
That's what they said. Even if we make this easy cake mix, right, in the 50s or whatever it was, then the women will have
Right.
more time to, yeah.
Right. No, it doesn't work out. It never works out. It can't work out because it's not the purpose of where we're supposed to be spending the energy. Nature is giving us this energy in order to take as much as you need to deal with what you have to deal with in this world. But while you're doing that, you're running that second clock. The thing is that spirituality is on a totally different axis. It's not the same. Like you were saying, Asaf, when you do something on this world, there's some kind of result that you see. You plant the seed, something comes out of the ground. You
There's-
write the text message back.
Instant visible result, tangible
Something,
result.
right? You enter that black hole with your spouse, and you start to feel it, right? There's some kind of something that happens, even if you don't get the result you want, you feel upset about it, but there's something visceral
Feedback. Yes.
some kind of feedback.
Yeah.
The spiritual investment, and we're not going to don't get into the mechanics yet, or at all today.
I won't get into the mechanics,
but if you're, it's a different, so it's a different axis.
The instant feedback happens, but you have to learn how to rise to that axis in order to feel it. That's the problem.
Well, that's the age that we're coming into right now, because when you have a bunch of people who don't want to work, you're already taking away from them this something that takes up 8, 9, 10, even 12 hours a day of their lives.
So
right?
Can you imagine how much energy is becoming available in the system called humanity, or in the system called our reality, that will be able to be used to project us up to the next. Okay, so here's one. Patricia asks a question. She says, what about when you spend every drop of your energy trying to be helpful, but it was useless?
I think a lot of us have felt that.
We can all feel that.
Yeah.
We can all relate to that.
I think anyone can feel that.
I think that's probably why you gave up going to homeless shelters and feeding the homeless there. It's like, what am I actually doing? It's the same thing with the whole, I don't want to get into it right now. I wanted to talk about this whole trash issue. We can talk about it later, but it's almost like, why are we doing something good when the bad just keeps happening? It's like this ongoing war, and there's no real solution. So why am I fighting this uphill battle? That's what it feels like. Is that what she's asking?
Well, I'm just going to read. I'm not sure. She says, what about you spend every drop of energy trying to be helpful, but it was useless. I was interpreting, I mean, you're interpreting it through, these macro things in the world where we're, making a new electric car, but we're still polluting the earth behind us, so you're trying to do something good. I was kind of thinking of it more in terms of like, I did everything right in raising my child. I gave them everything possible, and now they won't even talk to me.
I saw it the same way. I thought that's what she was asking. Yeah.
Also, I see that now.
Either
I
way,
identify with that too.
either way,
Yeah.
it sucks.
Can I say something about
Please.
this without getting too tech Kabbalistically,
I have-
technologically?
Hold on a sec. I have the YouTube open, and I see a blank screen right now.
No.
Yeah,
I hit a wrong button. Sorry, guys. I hit a wrong button, and you might see a black
Okay.
screen for a couple of
Okay.
seconds.
Okay. We're still on.
Newbie on
Everyone's
the controls.
Okay.
I think, who was that? Patricia.
Patricia.
Was that
I heard
Patricia?
I heard Patricia.
Who is in the Kabu graduate environment?
Yes. Here's the thing with spiritual investment. I'm just going to throw this without getting into it because that's going to take the rest of our whole show if we do. With spiritual investment, it can never happen because it's already built in to the process. Meaning, when you invest in your spiritual development and you discover that everything you've done, spiritually speaking, was worthless, that is built into the spiritual process, and you can it's growth. It's spiritual growth. I said I'm not going to get into it because I understand.
You have to at least.
It's like saying something without saying anything. I understand, but that's going to take our whole show, the rest of our
Well, first of all,
conversation.
you're usually looking for
But
this.
you guys understand what I'm saying.
I
right?
understand what you're saying, but because if I'm gonna invest in my children, I want to see them succeed. But you don't understand the waterfall of results that you see from that. Really, instead of looking at your child and to want to see the results from that, you should look at the entire global. How did they say it? How did we hear it the other day in the morning lesson? That the higher perception is a collective perception. That means if you really want to see the collective perception, if you want to be able to see the results on that level, then you should be able to understand that you're investing in the collective. So there's no way that you can look at one. You can't single out one particular object from that collective and want to see the specific results. You're right. We shouldn't get into that.
I'll add something.
All right,
I'll add
going.
one little thing. One little thing.
Get in it a little bit.
Any sense of emptiness these emptiness, lack of fulfillment. What was it? What did she say? Frustration, when you feel like disappointment or discouragement, frustration, when you feel like you've done actually
Feels
nothing.
like it was all useless.
It was all uselessness. All
and
of those feelings.
you spent all of your energy in the right place, even, but in your body, you feel that it was all useless.
Exactly, in your body. All of those feelings, powerlessness, helplessness, uselessness, futility, emptiness, depression, despair, discouragement, lack of fulfillment. They are feelings that exist inside the human ego. When we are talking about spiritual development, we are rising above the human ego into a new kind of vessel of perception. There, in these new vessels, there are no such feelings. It just doesn't exist.
Speak to me about reality for a second.
There's no emptiness.
Speak to me about reality.
The smallest degree in spiritually speaking is wholeness. Always, because if you're in bestowal, if you're in a mindset of bestowing, you do not have a lack. You're not attentive to your
You're not looking for the result.
From the egoistic perspective. You're seeing reality from a different perspective. So that's, what
all
Seth,
these frustrations and stuff.
Right.
That's good. It's good that you feel the frustrations, but you just need to direct it. Like Seth's saying, instead of directing it here and wanting to work a little bit harder here on the down, just figure out where it is exactly it needs to be up. Listen, guys, we've been on this topic for like 50 minutes. I don't know if time flew by for you. It flew by for me. I'm looking at it. It's now 9:50 in the nighttime in Israel. Do we continue?
I felt like we were just getting warmed up.
I felt like we were just getting warmed up. That's the problem. That's the problem with this show. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
We'll talk about the metaverse as well. I don't know.
Can we talk about them first? Wait, before we go to the metaverse, I do want to talk about the metaverse. I just want to say, want to do this.
Maybe we can talk about it next time, or
maybe. I just have to show this joke because it's funny how there's.
Yes.
How
I am voting for a joke.
A joke? Okay.
You had me a joke.
Let me set it up then. Let me set it up. I'm not going to spend too much on the setup because it's not like blow your mind funny, but the satire, like you've always said, the Kabbalists have always said, it's really humor is an important way. It's an important way to look at reality because it lets you kind of forget about all of the pride and all the way that the ego protects itself from the things that are important to it, right? And you're able to look at it from the side and be like, yeah, that's how things really are. So here, I don't know if you guys watch Rick and Morty, but there's a show, Rick and Morty. It's just really, really smart. And so there was this episode the other day where they basically saved this one planet from destruction, but they were upset because let's see if I can get to it. Where is it? They were upset. Hey, she's the one that saved the world. All right, so these people, this is Rick, and doesn't matter. It doesn't matter their characters. They saved this alien world here. Hey, she's the one that saved the world. Now we got to go to work tomorrow. Right, it's like it's these are the things that really they bother us. It's like the things that really are like, is that what's important? It's like I don't know. I feel like I feel like this is relatable to everybody. Like I don't want to. I just don't want to work. Take work away from me, and I might be able to
enjoy. It's a really good question. Like if you were able to poll the whole world and say, if we could just like end this on Friday. Like, who would vote yes?
Right, exactly.
No, but wait a minute. The concept of I've given up on getting into the metaverse. So let's talk about the concept of work for a second.
Go ahead.
Work. What is work? Is it really correct to say that we despise work? Is it work that we despise, or is it purposeless work? Work that where we don't, because I would argue that people, forget spirituality even, just psychologically, people want to put to good use their abilities, their skills. They want to feel productive. They want to master things. They want to become good at stuff. They want they don't want to be numb. And that is, that is interrelated with depression and emptiness and all that, becoming numb, becoming unproductive, becoming, you get the idea. So the problem is that we've created such a culture and such a society where the concept of work is so detached from what we actually want to do and what we're actually capable of doing, and that we feel a cognitive dissonance between doing something and realizing our uniqueness.
Like if I'm not working, then I'm depressed because I'm not doing anything, and if I am working, then I'm just serving some corporate.
Like, why am I spending my time flipping these burgers or whatever?
Dissonance. There's dissonance. No, but I saw an article recently about these McDonald's employees who actually loved their job. This manager who really he loved the work environment, he loved doing it, but they had no choice but to walk out. They had no choice. The McDonald's and the other franchise of the owner, they were giving them $15 an hour. They were only asking for $10 an hour. They were making $9. Just give us the extra dollar. That's all we're asking. Give us the extra dollar. They wouldn't do it. They loved their environment. They loved how productive they were, and they just said, "Listen, if you're not going to give it to us, we have to leave." They have to leave, and they ended up leaving in the end and found jobs that paid higher. But McDonald's basically took it because in the end, they were the ones who left, who got screwed because they have to train new employees who aren't as productive, who don't understand everything. So people are just, they like working. It doesn't matter. Put me anywhere. I can enjoy who I'm working with. I can enjoy what I'm doing, maybe. But if I have to serve something for lack of purpose, I guess there's a dissonance there of like, I like going to work. There's people who do like working because they like who they're working with. That's a thing. I like who I'm working with. So that's one thing. On the other hand, it's like, I don't feel good, so they're making me come to work. I don't know. You always have this dissonance, like, oh, today's a bad day, I'm going to call in sick. I don't know. So work is always kind of gets trashed on, like, do I need to actually go to work? I hate work, but really it's like this internal human necessity that you have to like provide for society. You have to be a part of society and benefit society and, do your part. At the same time, you hate it. So it's kind of an interesting thing. And what's this Great Resignation? 4 million people? Like, what were we? That's important somehow, right? In our times. Tell me about it a little bit.
I think that I would say that these millions of people who are resigning, thanks to COVID in part, are consciously, more or less, that's a question. But I think that at least subconsciously, people are questioning, are we,
think about how powerful that is. You're like, how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to buy food? I don't know, and I don't care, but I'm not doing this anymore. But that's very powerful.
That's an advanced scrutiny. Yeah, that requires a certain kind of this inner decision to brew within a person. But I wanna put a Kabbalistic spin on this concept of work, but that I have a feeling Seth is not gonna appreciate the level of Kabbalistic.
Just get it all out, and then if we have enough
it's all
time,
tied together. He can't
be
be that upset. It's all tied together. You've got the energy. I spend energy at work. Okay, so finish it off.
No, but Asaf is going to come in at like 500,000 feet, and we're going to have no way to connect the two things. So.
All right, at terminal velocity at 5,000 feet, we have 3 minutes left. Can you make it? Go ahead.
No, because we were talking about the concept of work. Now, Kabbalists refer to spirituality and spiritual attainment as work. It's inner work that one has to do. More than that, I knew Seth's not gonna like this direction, but we're already going there. So anyway, the more than that, they refer to what we're doing or what we're discovering as the work of the creator being this governing program of all of reality that they find contact with. And so doing this work, existing in spirituality and serving that program is synonymous.
It's good. It's good. Just
okay.
Just
you agree with that?
Just make a connection.
so it's constant work. So when we're talking about spiritual advancement, spiritual development, spiritual attainment, we're not talking about, it's not some, nirvana of relaxation. No, it's perfection and eternity and bliss that comes from becoming completely immersed in the work of the program that runs all of reality and finding how you can contribute every inch of your existence to that program. Now, it sounds, if I tell you that, and you're just a random person who entered this channel but by mistake and wanted to hear something about spirituality, this may sound like a real bummer. Oh my God,
that's not the one I wanted to hear.
That's the spirituality people were talking about. Oh, that doesn't sound so good. But if you see it from a different mind, from a different perspective, and again, I'll keep repeating this agenda. We are uninformed. We are uneducated about spirituality. That's what I keep saying. I think that's the problem. We even our concept of spirituality comes from our ideas of vacations in the material world. It's like we're misjudging what fulfillment is, what work is, and what spirituality is. Long story short,
vacations, that's also a good thing. Why do I enjoy from a vacation? But don't go into that now. Don't go into that now.
One more second. The long story short, in a society and that's where the Great Transition is taking us. This 21st century will have to lead us to this point. In a society that begins to consider spiritual development and integrate spiritual development into the daily reality of human beings, we're going to see how doing this inner work, this spiritual work, is the same as like the greatest vacation that you can have in this material world. It's like, because for the freedom, the sense of freedom, the sense of relaxation, the sense of realization, of self-realization, comes not from not doing anything. It comes from doing all the right things that you can do,
using your whole benefit of energy allotment.
Yes. Your
what
energy,
happens
your
is
your intention, all your desires, and you'll still be eating and having sex and doing all those things in a balanced way, because you also are an animal. You have a bodily existence, but your human existence will grow to heights that we don't even know what they are right now.
It's in a simple example would be, for example, I'm playing soccer, football, whatever, in my backyard, practicing. I'm using all of my energy there. Or now I'm on the World Cup team, and there's a billion people watching the game, from their phones, from their computers. There's 100,000 people in the stadium. I'm on the field with all of the others who've prepared. I'm against an opponent. We've all prepared, and all of that energy. So I'm using my same allotment. If I'm in the backyard, I'm spending 100% of my energy running and juggling the ball and doing everything. Or I'm spending that exact same amount of energy on the World Cup field with all of the conditions aligned, and the results reverberate through the entire world. And that's what we're talking about.
There we go. Thank you.
Nice. Now I can't tell if I want to be like a professional soccer player or just like continue my job tomorrow. I don't know. I guess I got to pay the bills. I don't know.
Right. There's much more to discuss.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a lot on the agenda today, and I think we got to the first half of the first thing. So that was cool.
All right. Maybe let's thank our viewers here, very active on the chat here. At least I was always kind of glancing at the chats here. There's a lot of activity, and it just feels great, you guys, to know that we're having this conversation together, and these vibrations of that coming out of this discussion are spreading between us, and everyone's hopefully feeling some collective feel that we are entering together. So thank you all for being with us. What are we singing?
Chris, it's your TGT bar mitzvah today. Welcome to the front side of the camera.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Listen, I didn't ask to be here, but it just kind of happened. I saw you guys a long time ago, and I was like, hey, this show can be great. I want to be a part of it. And then look what happens. Look where you are.
Look what happened to you. We will be back next Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for everyone for joining. Big hug from us. We're really happy to be here. We're always checking the chats. You got ideas for topics, you have questions, you want to challenge us about something, let us know. We'd be happy to engage with that, and we will see you next time. Thanks, guys. Big hugs,
later.
Everyone.
To take our first breath, to take our first action, to be alive on what is left, to float above the light, just to ask. Just to hunt and feel that is blessed, and to come home with you and rest.
Masked up, gotta block the call. Masking up my heart from egoistic thoughts. Learning all the lessons that this pressure gave us. Wanna save myself, I gotta save my neighbors. Slowly recognizing egoistic nature. Showing us connection is the only savior. We gon' come together, plow these fields of hatred. All is one with sowing seeds of love relations.
You shatter these walls, unsettle this heart from the chains of time. Then we soar through oceans in the sky. Oh, through your cold, to be in love with you, watch you with a bird's eye. See the world is filled with you. Just to run in a field that is blessed, then to come home with you and rest. Just to hunt in a field that is blessed, then to come home with you and rest.
Only love can save us. Viruses, the hatred, unity gon' vaccinate.